I have been an F-1 student for 7 years between 2012 and 2019. I'm going to talk about my experience of understanding how the F-1 visa works and what are the ways in which this new rule is going to affect students, especially Indian students. So what this new rule does is that it puts the student visa holders in a kind of limbo. The rule for F1 originally said that the visa is active as long as the student is in the United States and is enrolled in classes, whether they are online classes or physical classes. However, under the old rule, they were also required to be in the United States throughout this period. So this new rule affects all kinds of student visa holders, be they undergraduate students, graduate students, or even doctoral students. Many of the graduate degree or doctoral degree students are older, which means that they often uproot their lives in other countries and travel with their partners, in some cases even kids, to make this entire process work. Now, what this new rule does is it jeopardizes the lives of all of these people. So basically, international students are being given 1 month to figure their lives out. If these students have to attend these classes from a different country or a different time zone, it gives rise to a number of issues. So many international students, for example, people from the global south, they may have issues with the decent internet available consistently for them to be able to take these classes. Or think of time zones, right? In many of these cases, in the case of India, for example, does this mean that to attend classes, you will actually have to stay up at midnight to be able to participate in the classes and the discussions that happen online? Additionally, many of these students may not even be able to access many of the educational tools. Think of Google products, they're banned in China. A student who has to go back to China will not be able to access maybe some of the learning tools. Now, some of the students, they go to the US specifically because some of the study materials are not allowed in their home countries. Think of a student from an authoritarian country, who goes to the United States to study about democracy. It's unlikely that if they come back to their country, they will actually be allowed to continue with that. For example, think of Indian students. The way things are right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic, how are they going to come to India? There are some flights, not too many of them. It's very difficult to get a ticket for any of these flights. It's very expensive to get a ticket. And there is no answer about how these additional costs are going to be mitigated. This just does not affect the education of the students, but in many cases it affects the livelihoods of the students. Think of graduate or doctoral students who survive on the stipends that they are given for the work that they do while they're in the United States, while they are in the college campuses. Now, if they are sent back home, will they still be paid for working from half the world away? We don't know. There is no clarity on this, and this is a major issue. Now, in the case of people that have taken loans, right, it has the potential to mess up the timelines of by when you expect to finish and start paying back your loans. Or what happens if because of this disruption you end up needing additional funds? That this is something that all of these people will have to go back to their banks and possibly ask them and try and figure out. So this new rule definitely has the potential to mess up timelines of degree completion. There is no way to know how long this rule will stay in effect, or there is also no way to know if it might be expanded, which is something that might very well happen. Now, the problem is, most of all, what this new rule does is it says that international students are expendable. If you look at the data, it says that international students contributed $41 billion to the US economy in 2019. But this new rule says that does not really matter. They are still subject to the whims and fancies of powers that be.